This might be the wildest open source story in AI right now. A solo developer builds a personal AI agent in his spare time. Within weeks, it explodes to over 1 million users and tens of thousands of GitHub stars. Then things get messy. Anthropic forces him to change the name 3 times in just 72 hours. Security researchers start raising red flags. The community debates whether this is the future of AI or a privacy nightmare. Now, Sam Altman just hired the creator. He is calling him a genius. And the project is moving to a foundation that's supposed to stay open and independent. But some developers are already calling it ClosedClaw. So what exactly is OpenCLAW? It's an open source personal agent framework that runs on your computer, keeps track of your tasks and preferences, and then connects to large language models to get work done. Unlike a simple chatbot, OpenCLAW is designed as a swarm of specialized agents that cooperate with each other. They remember previous conversations, control apps and tools on your behalf, and can handle complex multi-step tasks. Here's what makes it different. It's not tied to one company's AI model. You can point it at OpenAI, Anthropic, or even open source models. It's supposed to be model agnostic, a glue layer between your personal data, your tools, and whatever frontier model you prefer. The vision. An AI assistant that actually understands your context and can execute tasks across multiple apps without you micromanaging every step. The project started quietly around November 2025. Peter Steinberger, a retired developer who had already sold a successful company, built it as a personal experiment. Originally, it was called ClosedClaw because it relied heavily on Anthropic's Claude models. Then, in December and January, it went completely viral. We're talking rocketing past 60,000 GitHub stars in weeks. It became one of the fastest growing open source AI projects ever. That's when Anthropic stepped in. They told Peter the name ClosedClaw wasn't okay because of trademark concerns, so he renamed it to Moltbot. Then there were more issues. The name changed again to OpenCLAW. 3 name changes in 72 hours. Around the same time, Anthropic blocked the OAuth flow that tools like Claude Code used, making it harder for open source projects like OpenCLAW to integrate seamlessly. The community was frustrated, but the project kept growing. As OpenCLAW's user base exploded, security researchers started sounding alarms. The problem: OpenCLAW gives AI agents deep access to email, calendars, and third-party accounts through OAuth. If something goes wrong, if there's a vulnerability or a hijacked account, the damage could be massive. Blog posts and security newsletters called out the risks. Some users reported accounts being taken over in seconds. Others pointed out that OpenCLAW burns through API tokens incredibly fast, which becomes expensive on paid tiers. Despite the warnings, the vibe in the developer community was electric. This felt like the first real glimpse of what consumer-grade personal agents could be. And that's exactly what caught OpenAI's attention. On February 15th, the news broke. Peter Steinberger is joining OpenAI to lead the next generation of personal agents. Sam Altman posted publicly, calling Peter a genius with amazing ideas about smart agents cooperating with each other. He said this work is expected to become core to OpenAI's product offerings, but here's the key part. OpenCLAW itself isn't being acquired by OpenAI. Instead, it's moving to a dedicated foundation. It's supposed to stay open source and independent, just with OpenAI's support. Peter wrote his own blog post explaining why he took the deal. He said one of his non-negotiable conditions was keeping OpenCLAW open and independent. He talked about his goal of building an agent that even his mom could use. He also mentioned he'd already retired once from building companies and wasn't interested in doing that again. What he wanted was impact, not another startup. The reactions were split right down the middle. On one side, a lot of developers see this as a massive win. A solo open source maintainer gets serious backing from one of the biggest AI labs in the world. Security issues can finally be addressed properly. OpenCLAW might support more models, more platforms, and avoid the burnout that kills so many open source projects. On the other side, skepticism and concern. Prominent AI researchers started asking for alternatives to OpenCLAW. One co-founder from XAI posted that it doesn't make sense to pour personal data into something tied so closely to OpenAI. OpenAI engineers pushed back, stressing that OpenCLAW is a locally stateful agent framework that can send traffic to any model provider. They emphasized the future will be multi-agent and multi-provider. But the jokes started spreading. Reddit threads filled up with people calling it ClosedClaw. The worry is that even if the code stays technically open, OpenAI could quietly become the default provider. Over time, they could become the first-class citizen in the ecosystem. Some users also complained that getting OpenCLAW to work with Anthropic's models is now harder than before. Rate limits are stricter, OAuth routes are blocked, and new users are struggling to set it up. So what does all of this actually mean? First, it tells us where OpenAI is headed. Hiring the creator of the most popular open source personal agent and promising to keep that project open under a foundation is a clear signal. User-centric, long-running AI agents are about to become a first-class product direction. Second, it shows just how competitive the agent space has become. Anthropic had a huge opportunity here. OpenCLAW could have been the default way non-developers interact with Claude models. Instead, they forced name changes and tightened API access. Now, OpenAI benefits from all that momentum. Meta was also reportedly in talks with Peter but didn't close the deal. For developers, the trade-off is clear. OpenCLAW now has a much better chance of surviving, scaling, and shipping real features. But with a giant like OpenAI in the background, there will always be questions about how independent it can truly stay. The next few months will answer that. Will the foundation keep OpenCLAW model agnostic and community driven? Or will those ClosedClaw jokes start looking more like predictions? Either way, this is probably the biggest story in AI agents right now. And it's just getting started. Hit that subscribe button and I'll see you in the next one.